Okay, welcome everybody to the Monday, January 13th, 2025 Joint Select Board and Finance Committee meeting of Conway. Call the meeting to order. We're waiting on the Finance Committee. We have one member so far. So we'll go ahead and get into the minutes. Vote to approve the minutes of December 30th.
Is that a motion?
I will make a motion because I did look them over. They look good as always, Adam. Thank you very much for your due diligence on that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Warrants, also looked over all the warrants, very normal stuff, so I'll make a motion to vote to approve accounts payable warrant in the amount of $187,609.78. Payroll warrant in the amount of $137,356.56. And the payroll deduction warrant in the amount of $34,557.26.
Tons of chairs here, George. I don't bite usually. Sometimes. On the pickleball court.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting attended by select board members. Erica.
None since our last meeting.
None since our last meeting. I have grammar school meeting tomorrow night and negotiations on Wednesday.
I had a meeting with RT Street Lights.
That went well.
Yeah, right.
It was a
Well, they're not
learning.
Eversource. They're not Eversource. Ron, Veronique, and I met about Pine Baptist Hill, and I randomly showed up to a meeting at the first responders building. I wasn't technically invited to, but I sat in for a little bit of it. So, all right. Public comments? Unfinished business? None. Moving on to new business. I just want to make sure there's nothing on here that the Finance Committee would need to be a part of. No. Okay, first on new business, discussion on ATM warrant request from Upper Pioneer Valley Veterans Service District. Okay.
So this is a request for something to the board to consider putting on the upcoming warrant for annual town meeting, which would be adopting certain measures that would give more exemptions to veterans.
Such as?
Both on the tax and also on motor excise tax. And I confess I have not gone through all the MGLs on this, but you should have a bulletin that was put out by DLS that explains it. It's called the HERO Act. Mm-hmm. Yep. And if these were to go into effect, the municipality, the town meeting would have to approve it. So it's something that would have to go onto the warrant.
Okay, so currently disabled veterans, based on the level of disability, already get those discounts with real estate and first vehicle, one vehicle. So I assume this is just expanding it to all veterans with honorable discharge?
Well, some of it is, because there's at least three different Mass General laws in here that are involved. So one of them would have an annual adjustment, an annual COLA for the amount of the exemption that would be built in and decided by DOR. So if the municipality adopts it, say it was $400 a year exemption and it was a 5% COLA, then it would be $420 that year. And that would all be determined by the state. We would just, and then there was also the motor excise one, and there's something in here which I haven't quite gone through completely about how it will double it. There's a clause 22I and clause 22J. And if you accept 22J, it provides an additional exemption of up to 100% of the amount of tax, which basically doubles it, which I haven't quite figured out. So
The exemptions in this state aren't that great, to be honest with you.
yeah, so it says, what would be the impact if a community adopts both clause 22I and 22J? They would operate together. For example, clause 22 would receive a $400 exemption, and the community accepts 22I and the CPI increases by 5%, the exemption would be $420. If the community further accepts clause 22J and increases by the maximum 100% the amount of tax exemption granted to veterans, in this example, the total exemption would increase to $840. So, and then there was also one about the motor vehicle excise and how, and the state reimburses for the motor vehicle, but not the other, I believe, if I read it correctly. So,
So it's just about allowing them to add this to the warrant?
yes, they're requesting that municipalities consider putting this on the warrant.
Do we know how many veterans we have in town?
We're not allowed to know, to the best of my knowledge. A lot of that information is private and privileged. So,
At least 100.
Secret, why 100? Why do you think it was?
All of us that showed up at the elementary school.
Oh, okay.
But again, the state is not the greatest when it comes to VA benefits with reductions in taxes. Like other states, again, based on disability, if you have 100%, they don't have to pay any real estate.
Yeah.
Here it's $1,000.
I'm all for whatever we can do for veterans, so
Yeah.
put it on the warrant, let the community decide.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'll make a motion, we put it on the warrant.
Is this a vote or just a discussion?
well, I just had it as a discussion, but I'm
Okay.
certainly happy to put it on the warrant and
I'll
then you can vote on
second
it.
Elaine's.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm just noticing that the only city or town in the district that has voted and enacted these clauses is Greenfield. So I assume they're doing outreach to the rest of the towns.
Yes,
But
yes.
We're just fast.
We're cutting edge, I
And
believe.
efficient.
Well, it's probably because Greenfield can do it through their city council, whereas we have to wait
we
for
have
town
to wait.
meeting.
Yeah, okay.
So that's probably why, and, this letter just arrived, so I'm assuming he's doing this so that all of the municipalities can adopt it.
Okay, are you expecting more members?
Alan?
Okay, let me just run through a couple more things.
Yeah.
Just give it one more time. Okay, so next on new business is discussion and vote to sign the Tri-State Fire Mutual Aid. So, mess up here. I think I have that here too, don't I?
Yep, you got it there. I think yours is the only signature required. Chief Baker has already signed it, so it's just extending our mutual aid agreement.
Oh, it's an extension. Oh, okay, it's just an extension. No revisions. Subject is literally renewal of mutual aid, so I will make a motion to sign the Tri-State Fire Mutual Aid.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
you
You
did. All
said,
right.
you seconded it.
okay, sorry.
Oh,
All right, aye.
okay, next on new business. Discussion and vote to sign change order on contract with GZA for Pine Hill area assessment. Do you want to talk about this? Do you want me to talk about this?
Up to you.
You can.
Okay, all right, so, over the last, let's see, how long has it been? I have it right here on the sheet. When we started with GZA on April 8th of last year, we signed a contract for hydraulic and hydrologic assessment of the drainage system up in the Pine Hill area. This was after the FERCog had given us their assessment, and it was decided by the board that it needed to be done by engineers. So the town engineer.
The plan.
Yeah, the plan, entered into the contract with GZA. After about, I don't know, 6 months maybe
Yes.
of
About.
back and forth and waiting and then getting a little bit of information, the upshot was, that it was felt that the information we were getting wasn't very different from the information that Ron had already provided and the FERC had already provided. And so, given the amount of the contract, it was felt that it probably didn't make sense for GZA to continue. So, we negotiated for an agreement to reduce the amount that we're paying them, and they would just stop work. So, that's what this agreement is about, and they gave us a final invoice based on that. And everybody was pretty much mutually satisfied, I think, with that agreement, based on the select board's feeling.
So it reduces the total contract by
About
$10,000.
$10,000, yeah.
150.
Just a little above 10,000,
Yeah.
yeah. And,
And so
yeah.
yeah,
There was a bunch of back and forth, I'll just say. I wasn't very pleased with the product that was coming out from GZA. We had multiple meetings with them where they were showing us their system and what they had been working on, and there were multiple discrepancies and issues with it that were obvious and should have been caught.
Not very thorough.
As it was progressing, it was very clear that it was basically just a carbon copy of what we had already received from FERCog, which was almost to a T what our super had said needed to be done in the first place. So the extra 10,000 would have just been paid to basically finalize the final product. No more work as far as engineering work, right? So that's why at the time we said, this is enough, stop it here, so.
I did put together a timeline for you of everything that's happened since the storm and what the town's response has been to it. And then Ron provided today his plans. Now, this is, of course, based on, the town has applied for a grant with Mass Works. We were granted it, but then it was for something that had already gotten done under an emergency certification. So with incredible amount of assistance from the FERCog, we reapplied with a change order, and they allowed that, and the change order is allowing the grant now to be used in the Pine Hill area to make the changes,
That's
which
awesome.
is huge, yes. It'll also repave a portion of Shelburne Falls Road, put up some guardrail, and also work on the culvert on Emerson Hollow. So it'll kind of take care of that. They understood that it was all kind of related. So, given that, Ron has produced his plans for the Upper Baptist and Baptist Hill area that you have in front of you tonight. And which we
I'm
can
sure someone in here is probably very
share
interested to
around.
see it.
Yeah, it basically consists of putting in some, starting from where Kevin Downey's property is, putting in either new or replacing existing catch basins, and everything being piped down to the triangle there. The pipe that goes to your house and another one will be taken out, and it will be piped directly to Baptist Hill and go down Baptist Hill into the catch basin that is already used by Mass DOT. So that should alleviate, they won't be removing any of the existing overflow, that will stay, but everything will be now piped and the catch basins going all the way down there. And
Is Kevin the lot 23 or lot 9?
Good question. Do you
You're
know,
24.
sorry, can't tell from here, it must be
Kevin is lot
8.2?
Or wait, is Kevin the one who just bought the new?
No.
Oh,
And I shouldn't be using names, but
Sorry.
you know, that was me. 8.2 on the map here, on drawing number 1.
oh, right.
Okay.
And that's where it says catch basin 1. So I'll pretty this up so I can disseminate it to people if the select board approves this. But this is the idea for how to move forward, and I'm particularly pleased that it will all be paid for.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
There are that many catch basins going up that road?
Well, there aren't, there's, some of them are new, quite a few
Yeah.
are new. And there's gonna be a new drop inlet basin, which I didn't know what that was, but learned.
Well, that'll be huge, the drop
Yeah,
inlet one.
Yeah,
That's the one that's going on the triangle?
in the triangle.
In the triangle, and
Yeah.
that should be able to take a considerable amount of water.
Yeah.
Well, that's good, because a considerable amount of water comes down Pine Hill. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So do we need to vote on?
Well, I mean, if you two have any other, I mean, I've obviously been, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't,
We don't even pay them anymore if they're not doing it anymore,
yeah, I mean,
right?
do we really think it's gonna be completed by July 1st? Oh, 2026.
26.
Okay, all right, 'cause I was
Well, it has to be based on the
The grant.
grant,
Grant,
right?
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think this is great, finally.
So I'll make a vote to sign the change order to GZA for Pine Hill area.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Fifteenth. And Beth, are we expecting anybody else?
Not that I'm aware of. I think someone might be zooming in, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Does the
Sorry.
finance committee mind if I speak with the sustainability committee first?
I
Okay.
could, okay, or I can,
Well, we have a lot to go
Oh,
through.
okay.
Actually, and George is here too with the, for the DLTA request, he can
Oh.
speak to his, yeah, if
Okay.
you wanna do that too. Up to you.
Sure. Let's move on to that then, if you all don't mind. We'll go to items not anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting. Discussion on new DLTA request form and planning board request. George, hello.
Did you want this in front of you too?
I got the minute. Our BLTA request is to continue in 2025 paying land use planners from the FR cog to help us with our proposed river protection corridor zone, overlay zone that we've been working on for the past year, and other people in past years have chipped away. We're about a year away from wrapping this all up.
That's cool.
And so this request, presumably for the coming year, calendar year, I believe, will allow us to resume work with Kim McPhee in February. Pretty much worked out the proposed bylaw change, but now we need to kind of go back at the beginning and work our way through. And then that gets followed with public education campaigns and public hearings and so forth. We're still not sure if we can realistically try to get this before the June town meeting. It's possible we might push it out a year, so as not to rush things. Because it's a big, complicated, and I'm sure politically sensitive kind of proposal.
And there were, I did actually have two requests myself for the board to consider. One was and these are all under the climate change adaptation and resilience. One was the hazard mitigation plan update. Our hazard mitigation plan expires in March of this year. I've been trying for a year to figure out how to get it updated, how to fund it, whatever, because you cannot apply for certain grants without this in place and current. And everything got kind of delayed through FEMA, so everybody, we're not the only ones who are in this position. And you can, you can see on here that it's only available to certain towns, and Conway's one of them. So I would very much like, because this is how it happened last time, was through the FERCog, and just let them help us through the process to get this done again. So that would be one of my requests. And the other one was the FEMA maps, the firm maps, have just been redone. I have no expertise to comment on whether there was any changes that need to be made, and the only changes you can make are actually have to be based on science. Well, I certainly can't be, So that's one of the things they can assist towns with is reviewing and submitting comments on recently release draft FEMA floodplain maps. As the floodplain administrator, I could very much use their help in reviewing these and seeing if there are comments and just feeling like I've got the new maps under my belt. So that was my second.
They can't offer an overlay
An overlay.
of the old floodplain and the new floodplain?
Well, the old floodplain maps are all paper, and the new
Yeah.
ones are all digital, which is gonna make our lives much easier, but, you know, it would just be helpful for me, because I'll be honest, the paper maps didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, and I never really sat down with anybody and said, okay, show me. And I wanna make sure that with the new ones, that I know every single household that's already in there, and how it might affect new house, that kind of thing. So,
Okay.
yeah, so those were my two requests. I did send it out to a whole bunch of people, and I didn't hear back, mind you, you know, didn't give them too long, and you can vote on this next week. I just wanted to, because some committees may get back and want a different priority, but I wanted to be sure you had that information.
Before we leave this broad topic, I should have asked if you guys are familiar with the river protection overlay zone idea. I'm not sure how much you've been informed in the past about this effort.
Not much, no.
Okay, well, should I just give you the
Yes.
thumbnail version?
Oh, please do.
The idea is that rivers, especially the south, have their own idea about how they're gonna meander over time. And as they do that over time, especially with high water events, there's a lot of erosion that happens that would affect people's land, and affect the river system itself. And the idea of the river corridor protection zone is that you would have a system of growth controls and land use protections that apply to this erosion corridor along the South River. It overlaps but also extends beyond what we think of as the floodplain or river protection areas that already exist. And the protections are specifically to address erosion issues. So,
Jack Lockhead was talking a little bit about
Yeah.
it.
Right.
so yeah, yes, some land that would fall into this,
Okay.
this corridor. So there's this, as with any kind of zoning, there's this set of proscriptions for what one can do in these areas, so that if you want to build a mansion right on the edge of the South River, that the town would have something to say about that. So that on the next big event, the mansion would fall into the river and cause mayhem for the river system or for the neighbors downstream.
Right.
Maybe wants to throw out an example.
Sounds very useful.
Okay, so I'll put that on the agenda for a vote next week?
Sure. Please
2
do.
weeks. 2 weeks?
No, we're meeting
Tuesday.
every week from now on.
Oh.
But next
Boy.
Tuesday.
Next,
get
it's
that
on
much.
Tuesday next week, yep.
Yeah.
This is the beginning,
No,
first of many.
that's totally fine.
Thank you, George. Okay, back to new business. Update from the Sustainability Committee on the Streetlights Project and date for a public meeting. Welcome, thank you.
You're welcome. So Jody and I are here to talk to you about where we're at with this streetlights project. Get my notes here. So, we have completed inventory and audit from Real-Term Energy that you all remember that we hired to do this one. Just to make this as concise as possible. So the next step, Jody you'll chime in when I'm missing important things. The next step, we think, as a committee, is for the select board and the committee to present information to the public about this. Specifically about potential elimination of lights in town, as well as kind of the entire, what we're hoping to have happen with this entire project. The date we selected, and that was based really on back timing from when we would need to submit a Green Communities grant, which is due by April 4th. So the date we selected was February 19th with a snow date of February 26th. This is a Wednesday night here in this room. We make it a Zoom meeting, of course. I wrote a preliminary brief article about it for the Conway Currents, which the deadline for submission would be Wednesday, I believe. Here's like the draft. It's a draft. It's only a draft. We're just waiting for you all to say yes or no, we're behind you on this. And our thinking is that we're here to recommend, and the select board are the people making the final call on this. Prior to the information session, we would be inviting people to go out in pairs and go around town and flag lights that you think might be okay for elimination. There's a lot on Delaware Avenue.
Elimination or illumination?
Elimination.
You
We have enough
you picked a
elimination.
good night to bring
So
that up.
Delaware
happened
Avenue
out there?
has a ton, what?
Do you see what happened out there?
No, what?
So,
Chris's house is glowing.
yeah, Eversource
Glowing with
today
what?
decided to replace some streetlights when we told them not to.
We told them not to.
Lights or
Jeremy
bulbs?
called, bulbs, I'm sorry, with the power of 40 suns. It is like lighting up,
I have a
and the one in
picture.
front of my house is lighting up
I'm so.
my entire area.
I'm
It's
so
insane.
Okay, well, this gives us all a little bit of kick.
And they did it down Maple as well. There's one down Maple you'll see, and I think
They did
Ives,
one on Ives.
up on
yeah.
Ives.
All right, well, who wants to go? So we're.
There it is. Can you see it from there?
Yeah, that's the one on Maple.
It's like the North Star.
Is it the
Yeah.
full moon? What is
It's
it?
insane. They're,
No, you're not kidding.
Obscenely
I'm so
bright.
sorry. How did this happen?
yeah.
I called Mike Kane immediately, so
Good.
he's, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Maybe it was the bulb out? I
The-
wonder if the bulb was
It's
out.
one of those bulbs, there's plenty around here, which we had said on the RTE, and we had mentioned, is a lot of these phosphorus bulbs you'll see are like a pink,
Like-
purple color.
Yeah.
yeah.
And they'll turn on every now and again, but it's like the opposite. I'll go outside and the light turns off. So it's the opposite of motion sensor. And I was fine with it because it's not a light we need anyway. It's one of these lights that, my neighbor and I are like, why is it even here?
Yeah.
But now I think you're gonna have a lot more backers after what they
Okay, good. Well,
what they
so,
replaced.
It may have worked
From
positive.
front there when you leave,
so
I'm sure.
several of us have taken a couple of spins around town with the map that RTE was using to inventory and reconcile the inventory with Eversource's inventory. Luckily, there's very little discrepancy between the field audit and what Eversource
that's good.
provided to us, so that's nice.
Yeah.
If you were just taking the guidance or the guidelines of perhaps we don't need all these lights if they're not at an intersection, or if they're not in front of a public parking lot, or if they're not in an area where a sidewalk needs to be lit for, evening walking or something like that. We've got a lot of those that don't meet that criteria. So I think as a committee, we're looking for agreement and the go-ahead, and maybe somebody to come out with several of us and tie yellow ribbons around the lights that we want to consider. So in addition to talking about what lights might be eliminated, we would also be talking about the type of fixtures and lights that we want to recommend switching over to. And there's a lot to consider there. I was pretty simplistic about it, like, smaller watt, but there's a lot to consider: color, temperature, how it appears.
Shielding.
The shielding, we can do shielding, so it's not, spilling out, and downward facing. So, that's something to think about, and we'll be asking if anybody on the select board wants to come with, we'll pair up and just go out. And personally, I think it would make sense to go and flag these a couple weeks before give people a couple weeks to notice or not notice. And so our plan is to put information in the currents. I can send out a press release. We talked about maybe flyers around town, just so people know that this is coming up. And if we had this on February 19th, Then we have we've agreed to RTE that we would give them a final list of what we're proposing to eliminate, what we'd like eliminated from the inventory by, what did we say, early March.
Yeah,
By
the
early
select board
March.
meeting is March 3rd, so, you know.
After March 3rd.
Yeah.
We'd give it to them by the end of that week, and then we would be more or less, I hope, ready to submit a grant, a Green Communities grant, by April 4th at the latest. I have one, and C.S. Stewart, another member of our committee, went to talk to Allison at FERCog, who's been very helpful with the process for the grant, and she found out today, she just called me to say, she said that if, one of the things we would apply for the grant, it would include the cost of conversion of the buyout. This is the article.
That would be if we buy out Eversource.
We have to buy out the
Right.
fixtures, if we wanna go that way. It's another way to go, but it might wind up with those lights that is in front of Chris's house.
Exactly. Yeah.
We need one of those in front of Adam's house.
So,
We're gonna request that tomorrow.
so if we apply for the cost of the buyout, it makes your, according to Allison, it makes your grant a little less competitive. So what Shelburne did was they included that in the grant, but they also asked for contingency money from their town meeting. So that's another thing to consider. But they wound up getting everything that they asked for. We hoped for the same thing. But if we needed to ask for contingency money, we'd have to get on a warrant.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, you can ask for less but not for more, but we would want to have a somewhat accurate figure from Eversource of what the buyout would cost.
What are I think it would be helpful to know like what the standard is where a street light is recommended.
That's
Like-
very interesting.
Okay.
We asked a very similar question when we met with RTE on whenever that was, a few days ago. There isn't really exactly a standard.
Okay.
There's engineering standards about what, like,
The recommended amount of lumens per roadway type.
yeah, per roadway type. And our roadway type is all very low. If you look at the inventory, there's a whole list of like pedestrian, whatever they called it. What do they call it? Pedestrian use or something?
Yeah.
We're just low all the way down. There's some safety concerns that were flagged by the police and fire and first responders about intersections. So that seems obvious.
And crosswalks.
And crosswalks, right?
Is an intersection like I'm thinking of, I don't know if you know it, like Reed's Bridge and Graves Road. If you come off Graves, you end onto Reed's Bridge. Now, I don't think there's a light there, but there's one up the street.
Right, there's some places that make absolutely no sense, even if you're going with that intersection.
Like in front of Chris's house.
Right,
Standard,
if you can,
right,
if it's
so-
a straight
And I don't
road.
think every intersection in town has a light.
No, I live off of, I live on Hoosick Road,
Yep,
so off of 116 onto Graves Road,
yep.
there's no light there.
Oh, there isn't.
Hmm.
No,
No.
that would be a place I would think would be useful because of, you
Because
come
it's-
off and then you have the turn and you
Yeah.
have the triangle.
So, because there aren't standards like that, and because in our town, it's been applied in a kind of haphazard way, I don't know how to
Okay.
And
realistically address that.
one thing we really haven't talked about at all, and I don't even know there's any possibility of it, is adding lights like you're suggesting, because some people think there should be a light out here, between here and the parking lot, for example, but I don't think that's gonna be a possibility. But as far as the money saving, I mean, we will save some money and obviously save energy by converting to LED bulbs, and then they last so much longer.
Yeah.
But the main, maybe even a bigger saving would be eliminating lights. We have 65 right now.
67.
Okay, 67 annual bill of $9,000, which I think Veronique pointed out it was like equal to the,
Yeah, Ron told us just recently that the amount of money we spend for electricity in all the public buildings is like $1,100 or $1,200 a month, and the street lights are $900. So when you think about it, it's like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah,
that's,
it's wild.
yeah.
so we're thinking already, or we have thought of possibly like 20 lights that don't need to be there.
That'd be awesome.
Well,
But I just
Do they
wanna,
have solar streetlights?
are there solar streetlights?
Yeah.
I'm sure there are solar streetlights, but I don't know, that has not been part of our thinking
No,
at
just,
all.
okay. Oh,
It's really just
Um,
taking control.
I know there's solar, well, let's not go down
Yeah,
that road. One thing, that I just forgot entirely what I was gonna say.
Well, I would say as far as the choices, and speak up please, but as far as the choices of lumens and hue, I would only offer recommendations that are in line with the dark sky.
Yes, right, yeah, we've brought that up every time, that's certainly something that's front of mind for the RTE as well as the committee, absolutely.
One other thing that we don't really have an answer to is, and I'm glad that Beth put it in terms of offering information about the streetlights, because it's what we do with feedback from people. If they say, I don't want this light that's in front of my house, or I do want this light, you can't take it away. So we haven't really come up with an answer to what you do about that. So, I mean, we are seeing it mainly as an information session to
Yeah,
tell people
yeah.
what's happening.
We're not
And
calling it a
hopefully
forum.
hopefully they'll buy in.
Yeah, we want people to understand what it is and to support the general idea. I think people will,
I do
do.
too.
Well, I'd be happy to ride around with somebody and see, or put yellow ribbons out, or
Okay,
whatever.
great.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
guess-
outside of this.
Most of them will buy us
I know,
anyway.
like,
We
We'll
just
do a
walk.
little.
I'll go tag those even before.
Yeah,
Yes, because Delaware Avenue, so many lights.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
there are.
Yeah.
Is that 'cause of the-
Where was it that I most?
Because of the mill and the
noted?
business?
A lot of what's out there, as we've said before, is really like an intriguing historical
Yeah.
Yes,
map of our town.
Right.
Academy Hill Road has 5 lights, and I was told the reason for that is because the school used to be.
The
Right.
school,
Right.
Yeah.
Kids had to go.
farms, dairy farms, it's poignant in a way, actually.
Yeah, it is.
A map
Yeah, they
of
said
the
that all
past.
farms used to have a street light in front of them.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came
And there's
from,
still one on, is it Bardswell Ferry? There's still one that might or might not be part of the inventory, it might be just actually an independently owned.
Yeah, Ron
Barstow
said there's
Ferry's
one in
the
front
Topman.
of John Holy's house.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we just need, we're asking for you to, be part of this information session, of February 19th, with a snow date of February 26th, and, do the pairing up and traveling around thing.
Sounds great.
And also the idea of, we might have to ask for, contingency funding, if we don't get the Green Communities grant. Is there anything else we're looking for from you today? Is there any questions you have for us?
Thanks for doing this. It sounds fascinating.
It's a little overwhelming, I have to say.
As you're talking, that streetlight is flashing on and
Oh,
on.
yeah.
What else do
It's not even staying on.
I'm feeling a lot more pressure than when I came
It
in.
continually goes on.
It's just been
Like I said,
blinking the whole
Blinking,
time.
yeah.
Great.
Like I said,
Right.
people don't think about the beautification of a town being at night, but I think if this all goes through, it'll make a huge difference
Yeah.
that'll be noticeable to all
I
of
think
us.
so too.
Yeah, and the committee, I'm really grateful to the committee, Jody, for doing a lot of preliminary field work before this all started, and Sia Stewart and Pam Westgate, who knows a lot from an engineering standpoint, and Live Right Wyatt, who knows a lot, knows a lot about lights. It's really useful.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we mentioned this before, but we're very fortunate in that Shelburne Falls has gone through this whole process.
Yeah.
They've shared so much information with us, and we've been to several meetings over there that they had with their community. So we haven't had to start from scratch.
Yeah, that's great.
Critical, really.
Awesome.
Okay, that's all?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Should we?
Yeah, you guys, you should approve the dates.
Yeah, so
for
how
the
about
meetings.
February 19th at 6?
We had a.
It's 6:30, isn't it?
Well, we just pulled 6:30 out of our.
6:30 to 7:30, we said.
Okay,
Right?
We were hoping for that, just because.
that's, yeah,
They were thinking dinner time and when people get home,
Yep.
so.
all right,
Okay,
6:30,
so-
February 19th.
If that's okay, then I'll finalize that with you and Adam, and it can be sent to the Conway Guides. Okay, and is it okay if we make a flyer?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, old-fashioned flyers.
Yeah, we can do that at all the usual places, and I can post something on the Facebook.
Yeah,
the
and I can
website.
send out a press release if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All
you so
right,
much.
thank you.
You wanna call your meeting to order?
No, we don't have a
You
quorum.
don't have a quorum yet?
Nope, we don't have a quorum.
Roy, I mean, I know he's in Mexico, but I just.
I'm not calling it.
George,
talked
are
to
you waiting
him
on
once.
anything for us, George?
I was gonna sit in case there were any questions about the planning board budget.
Oh, okay, got it.
Well, we can start with that one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on to the last new business discussion, which is the discussion and vote on the cost of beer and wine license. So what has it been?
Oh, in the highway bid with the FERPAC, sorry, there is one more.
Yeah, that's on items on this.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
All right, so cost of beer and wine license, which is, I would assume, the same license, right? There's beer and wine. and
No,
liquor.
just to give you, I was looking through the files. So for instance, so right now, Barb has the innkeeper license, and that's $250.
Uh-huh.
Now, these numbers are 8 years old. Let's say the state maximum is $5,000 for that. The package store maximum is $2,000. And beer and wine only is $850. So somebody's thinking about, Helen's thinking about possibly doing beer and wine up at her place.
Yeah.
So you would just have to decide, okay, so if Barb is $250, you know, if Bobby opens what's, because he'll have hard alcohol, what's his gonna be, and if Helen decides to do that, then what's,
Wait, would Helen be serving, or would she just sell?
Just selling.
Just selling beer and
yeah,
wine?
yeah.
What was Langevins?
They charged him the same as Barb.
I mean, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
Just straight across the board, 250.
Yeah.
Whether it's all alcohol or just beer and wine?
I mean, I think at this point, it's not, yeah, I don't think there's enough of a distinction, you
Right.
know? I mean, there's only one of these licenses so far in town right now.
Yeah,
Potentially two
we only
more,
have,
so,
yeah, the
yeah,
one,
I'm comfortable with that.
yeah. So just keep everything
Yeah,
250.
I mean,
You wanna make a,
I make a motion that we set the beer and wine license cost
alcohol.
and beer and wine alcohol at $250.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Last item on items not anticipated 48 hours in advance is the discussion and vote to sign the highway bid with the FERCog. Okay. Just see if there's any change to this. So this is the same thing, they, as you all know, they bid on the materials, right, for us. So no change, so I'll make a motion to vote to sign the highway bid with FERCog.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. It says if required, is it just me or all three of us? to me, but
Oh, yeah, I guess it's, yeah.
should I just
Your
get
choice.
everybody?
Yeah,
Sure,
why
Just
not?
get everyone
Can't
here?
wait.
Might as well.
Let's move on to TA updates.
Oh, you don't want to review the budget?
Oh, I thought we couldn't with the.
You can review them, there's no
It's not
vote.
on the
No
same
vote.
vote.
Okay,
No vote.
let's do that then.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's stop wasting George's time.
Exactly.
So why don't we start with the planning board? 175.
Sorry, that's as big as I can make it.
Sure about me last?
Did I read this?
No. It's not this.
I don't really have any questions on this.
Did you have any edits to make to this, George?
No, the amount of money that we've had allocated the last couple of years seemed to be plenty. It's something of a wild card in our case because we never really know who's going to show up in the course of the year with a special permit request, which triggers legal ads, which are beyond our control in terms of the cost. And what I do know is that we probably are going to have a public hearing about accessory dwelling units. We're probably going to have a public hearing about, at some point, about the river corridor. And I haven't heard anything lately, maybe some of you have, but there was talk at one point about a solar farm on Boyden property.
Yeah, we had some discussion here about that.
Yeah.
So that would trigger some planning board special permit action and more legal ads and so forth. So we could very easily run up some bills in the vicinity of $2,000 just for legal ads. Other expenses are much more controllable in terms of mileage and so forth. Most of us just kind of eat those things. So the amount that I see there for FY25 would probably be fine for FY26.
I have a question regarding trainings and meetings.
Yeah.
It's been flat for a number of years. Are there any, have you been up, what type of training could you possibly think that? I'm
Well,
sure the fees have
Cheryl
gone up to
Case
that.
just went to sort of a COGS, or actually it's a regional planning agency training, and it was about, actually, I put it crudely, promoting zoning changes among the public, right? So it was kind of talking about strategies for explaining to people what you're trying to do with certain kind of bylaw changes.
Yeah.
So she went to that. It was one of those morning seminar things. It cost her $35. She paid it out of her own pocket. It's that kind of stuff. The Franklin Regional Council of Government Planning Department from time to time has those kinds of seminars. Sometimes it's a Zoom-related thing.
It's not like Roy going to Mexico for that trip.
Yeah. Is there a group, like a planning, the Association of Councils, the planning board, or any kind of?
Yeah, this is Massachusetts Association of Planners, and there's a county one as well. That COG is sort of instrumental in organizing, and so those organizations all do provide various kinds of seminars and workshops over the course of the year, some of which we attend, some of which we don't bother.
Yeah. How much is the annual fee, and how much is it cost?
I don't have that number off the top of my head. I haven't actually seen a fee.
But we belong to it, right? We pay the dues, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't be paying the dues ourselves, we would take
So
that.
someone has to pay because there's no money expended here this year so far. You have no money expended in the budget yet, so there's a past due bill.
Well, for sure, because I know we paid
They just haven't
$200
updated
legal
the
ad not too long ago, that would show from this
Oh.
spreadsheet I'm looking
All
at.
right.
So
Thank you.
the other thing that came up in the committee meeting, the joint one between Capital Finance and Personnel, was the discussion about stipends. So Planning Board and Concom, and this is not coming from Planning Board and Concom, just so everybody's clear, but in looking at all the stipends and reviewing which committees get them and how increases are made, it was brought up that neither Concom and Planning Board both have a phenomenal amount of work that they have to do.
And Board of Health.
And yeah, but the Board of Health gets a stipend, and the Board of Assessors gets a stipend.
Yeah.
So, and this is, you know, planning board is certainly one that if there is no planning board, that falls to the select board to do. So it, you know, in the interest, I guess, of fairness and looking at the amount of work in these committees that is required, it was brought up to consider a stipend for both planning board and Concom. So there are 5-member committees each. So say you gave a stipend of $1,000 a year, that's 10 grand. So just to, something, I'm not, you know, sure it's something, well, we can't vote it on tonight anyway with
Yeah.
the finance committee, but it's something to keep in mind that those are the only 2 that are, you know, real heavy-hitting committees that don't get a stipend.
Well, they have administrative powers, which is, this is the finance committee is an ad hoc committee, we don't have just the advisory board. They have actual legal responsibilities, administrative powers, or Board of Health, Concom, Planning Board, of course, assessors, because of their ability to change assessment rates and all that. So those are important committees.
Yeah, I agree.
One of the other things that came up during that meeting, I'll just mention now, and the board can vote on it, I guess you were saying maybe next week, was the idea of, Jan had brought up that she wanted some direction on how stipend increases were made. And in the past, some got COLA and some did not, and they had to make an actual request for an increase. So the consensus or the vote from those 3 committees, correct me if I'm wrong, was that there would be no automatic COLA, but that anything stipended would then, that either person or committee would have to make a request for an increase.
And to get a stand, because there has never been a written standard to what employees get paid hourly salary or stipend.
You
So
know,
we want,
withholding employees of the stipend, because there's no withholding.
yep. So we wanted to define that and have a standard going forward.
I think so. And definitely stipend shouldn't get a COLA.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, this is just part of sort of cleaning up that, you know,
Yeah, I think it makes sense to
thing,
clean
if
it up.
some departments did things some one way and the other, it's just making it
Totally.
uniform.
So do people, if people get a stipend, do they get a 1099 then from the town? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Excuse me.
You should know.
I've never gotten a stipend from the town.
Yeah.
There you have.
Well,
Yeah, you do.
but yeah, but
It's just
no,
not enough to like,
no, but I thought I got a W-2. I don't
You have
get
to
a 1099, do I?
fill out your W-2, but you should get a
Or I get a-
1099.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm paying taxes on them.
Yeah,
I'm not on the names of all the forms.
I'm pretty
I
sure.
thought it was more like a, I don't know.
Have you gotten a 1099?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I probably
I'm
did, just
assuming I would
thought
get
it
a
was something
1099.
else. I paid the taxes.
I swear.
Sure.
Okay, so I guess it,
$3.
I know.
Here's $3 in taxes on it.
is
so,
that further question?
so I guess we'll put that on a later date for
I think so,
a
yeah.
vote on the
Yeah.
common planning board stipends. Okay,
Yeah, and the standard of,
and the no
Just, yeah.
stipend, no COLA on stipend, yep. Is that, sorry, is that what you?
no, the standard of which employees receive a stipend. Of
Which board
which-
members receive, which boards receive stipends?
Which positions
Okay,
as opposed to salary, like we were just talking about earlier.
right. Okay,
Yeah, we'll discuss stipends in future.
There's no other questions for the planning board, then we're gonna.
Nope, thank you,
Okay,
George.
thank
Thank you.
okay, so, the rest of these I think will be pretty quick
Okay.
because there aren't any changes, if I remember correctly. So the moderator,
No change.
stipend of $350, no change. Finance committee doesn't get a stipend.
That's right, no change. No, but the membership due for the ATFC has gone up by $1.
Has it? Should I put in 301? No. Okay, I don't have reserve fund, so accounting, actually, so Mike tells me, you know, he's good, you all set his salary last time, so it's actually gonna go down, and it's because of this right here. No, I already took it out. There was a 1-year fee from MIP for the
Was the
conversion.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so that came out, so that's why it's gone down.
Mhm.
Yay.
Yeah, it was right here, the software and hosting, so. Yep, so that went down, and what's next?
Open space, 170.
Yeah. And so there was no change.
Same.
Yep,
Right, 171, conservation.
and that's the other one to consider with the stipend, and it went up by $4 for their dues.
Okay.
Agricultural Commission, we just keep $1 in there to keep it open. I did have somebody express a little bit of interest in talking about maybe to see if there's some other farmers who are interested in getting this going again, so you never know. So it's good just to keep it on the books, I suppose. We did planning boards, so the last one is ZBA. And, yep, there was no change in that one either. So see, that was a pretty painless budget review.
It's a nice start to budget season.
Really?
Well, it always is for the first.
The first one.
Yeah, the first few, yeah.
So we always start out light, right?
Yeah,
It's
we
gonna
gotta
be a
get
boring
back in the
meeting for you
groove.
guys.
Until we get to school committee.
Back to the school, one of the questions I had back in December 17th, the Personnel Committee, the Capital Improvements Committee, the Finance Committee had a meeting. And what we discussed, Elaine, was that the Conway Grammar School Stabilization Fund, at a balance of $227,000 approximately, it's been since 2013 that the last update was given to the cost of replacing the boilers. Sure, the costs have gone up.
We're on
The
it.
concern I have is, I think we might have to take some of the free cash that we have and allocate it towards increasing the balance of the Conway Grammar School Stabilization Fund, so.
I think that the clock is definitely ticking on the boilers.
So the boiler is towards the end of its rated useful life.
And I think the person in charge of maintenance was updating that
Oh,
estimate.
Ingrid?
Yeah,
Mhm. All right, good.
so that
Yeah,
was
please
on
let
our,
us know between now
on our
and
radar.
March, because I'm going to propose that we maybe take a big chunk of money from the free cash to put it towards the stabilization. At one point, Conway Grammar School Stabilization Fund had a higher balance than it currently has. We've drained it down over the last few years with the backup power generator, the well situation.
So I think we hadn't we asked the sustainability committee we were looking at the overall system,
Mhm.
because now you can have all this technology that you can remotely turn it down, turn it on, know if something's wrong, all that kind of stuff. So
Smart buildings,
smart building. So I thought we were reaching out to the sustainability committee about helping us get that overall picture while we're in the process of this.
The only thing I know, yes, they have gotten that request. The only thing I know that they're moving on right now is getting the energy audit for the grammar school and for this building.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a piece of it.
But yeah, and I saw that there's a, what is it, a BM something, building maintenance something system that you're talking about?
Yeah,
And there was an estimate for that in the capital.
Oh, okay,
improvements,
good.
I think.
yes. Was hoping for that because
My understanding.
otherwise it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. You put in this whole new
Yeah.
system, but then you have no way they have mini splits in almost every room now. So to get the optimum of the mini split plus the boiler plus everything,
Mhm.
you really need an overall
management.
smart something
Yeah.
to manage it.
Yeah, technology.
Has anything
changes.
changed with because at some point they were talking about it doesn't make sense to replace one boiler. You have to replace both because the building itself structurally needs to be
Absolutely.
changed.
Yeah, but
I
they
think that's the
can
case.
work on different systems, they'll have duplicate systems,
Right.
separate systems won't be a duplicate,
Right.
yeah, after.
So I guess, yeah, the question is gonna be, is that gonna be on the capital request for this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's not, ain't dead yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like for the fire truck, you
But
know,
it's
start
coming,
sucking money away, so
you
we don't
know.
have to borrow too much to do
Right.
full replacement.
Right, but I guess my question would be, how quickly can they, if they have to structurally change the building, how quickly can that even happen? That would have to happen over the summer, wouldn't it?
Oh, it might even take longer than that, depending on some of the parts. There's issues in the supply chain again.
Yeah.
Switching
Maybe we can
gears
get
this
the
one?
remaining life expectancy of the current boiler.
Yeah, all that. Bill, and Bill would probably have a handle on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
Oh, it's
past
yeah.
due.
Yeah, absolutely. It's rated for up to 25 years, and I think we're right around that time.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I
such a
think we're-
beautiful school. There's only one small section of it that's siding, and they picked the ugliest yellow color for it. Can we paint that?
Mind the yellow.
It's like,
Maybe you should be on school.
Hire
Yeah,
a
he
local
needs more to
artist.
do.
I know.
Hire a local artist to do a portrait or something. Do a
It's like-
GoFundMe.
it's like
Yeah,
this
a
yellow.
mural.
it's that yellow.
Yeah.
Do a GoFundMe and hire a local artist or a kid to do
Yeah.
a mural.
Right.
Did you see their article in the Conway Currents?
Which one?
It was about, like, if you have a specialty or something you
Oh,
want to
yes.
share with the school. I
Yeah.
hope people read that
Yeah.
and, like, reach out about it, because
Yeah.
we have so much to draw on in this
Oh,
town.
yes, a lot of skill sets.
You know, and I just think that's so cool, and I was gonna actually point that out to Janet about because she was talking about getting kids involved in the invasive species and
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, which is right up some of those kids' alley. They said, Kristen said that two fifth graders, I think, did a whole presentation to her on invasive species on the school property.
Wow.
And how they should remove them.
I bet there's plenty.
I bet there is.
Yeah, there's a lot of bittersweet. That's my wife, bittersweet, not weed.
No, we.
Yeah.
No.
The evils of the world.
Except if you're a beekeeper. Quietly, beekeepers love knotweed.
Really? Why is that?
Big pollen load in the city.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Just add in
Not
ticks
green
and
honey.
burn it all down.
That's it. Knotweed honey.
Oof, oof. Well, thank you. You guys have anything else?
That's enough. It's
Great.
impressive enough talking about the avenue. Well, actually not, but the Conway Grammar School, that was my concern coming this year. I mean, we have a good handle, pretty much everything else. The highway garage up there is on budget. People were lamenting at the cost per square foot of $280, and I said,
That's
I'm
pretty
looking at
reasonable.
construction projects that are $500 and up.
Easy.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why,
And,
I was gonna say, that's why Concom's not busy,
Yeah,
because new construction costs are,
yeah.
what are they?
So, let's put it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a home,
Start at
400 per square
500
foot.
and go
Yeah.
up from there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what
people
it
just aren't aware of the cost of things now.
Yeah, since
for
the
those
pandemic, you
things.
know, it's been,
Right,
sticker
well,
shock.
now if we get trade wars, it's not gonna go down.
Yeah.
Yep.
no one's predicting it around.
Yeah. So,
People are hoping, but not predicting.
All
Well,
right.
if Canada becomes the 51st state,
Yeah.
all of our lumber gets cheaper.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it.
thank you guys.
You're welcome, thank you.
I'm
All
moving
right.
to Greenland.
Try
Uh,
the Danish now to fight back.
Moving on to town admin updates.
Sure, so one of the things that just came in today was a notice from the South County Senior Center, again from Jennifer, saying that she has enough funding to do another round of iPad lotteries for seniors in Conway.
So how many, is it like 5 that we?
No, it was like
No,
35?
we did 30, yeah.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
that's
really?
so
Oh,
great.
that many?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was.
Oh, yeah, I had 2 boxes of them over there.
Yeah.
There was 3 or 4 different sessions.
There was a
But
bunch
you
of
still
them on
have,
eBay.
so, I mean, I guess that was my question, like,
Yeah.
we still have iPads that we haven't given away?
Oh, no, no,
No,
no,
no, they're all.
they're all
Okay.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I
know
just
a couple
wanted,
people that have them that are very pleased.
yeah, yeah, good.
I'd say get more. if you
They're
can.
such
Why
great,
not?
you know, they're
Great.
such a
Yeah.
great size.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, great, so I will affirm with her
Yeah.
that Conway would be
We'll take it.
thrilled and thank you.
Yes.
Very much so.
Did
Um,
Barb get one?
Yep.
Oh, there you go. So, Ron and I will be meeting this week, actually Wednesday, to finalize for the Mass Works, because there's contracted documents that we have to get to them. I did put out to all the department heads to ask them to send me
stuff to put in the TA update, and then Lori did send me one, which just says that she's working on the 2025 street census listing, so, and people need to really understand that if they don't turn it back in, they end up getting dropped, and then they can't vote, and it's a real hassle, so turn it back in. And then I think I had already told you before I went on vacation, but now I can't remember, but that we got the $6,000 for a swap shop.
Yes, which is, yeah.
And another 3,500 in RDP funds. So Jan and I need to measure the current Conway Mall, and I need to talk to Ron about how much space, because we need a bigger building, but I think it needs to be longer, and anyway.
Right, I mean, and is there, like, are we gonna have to do any?
We're gonna take that one
Are we gonna
down.
have to put a I mean, like.
That one's gonna
like,
go.
Build out more,
That one's, it's not even fixable.
like, do we have enough,
Room there.
yeah, like,
Property,
like,
yeah.
is there, like, what's
Well,
the
we're gonna have to
footprint?
move the electronics, I think, and we already moved the porta potties, so we should have enough, we can finagle something. And the spring, it's on the docket to fix the hole and then pave, as you're exiting, where the wood's been sitting, pave 3 parking spots there for the mall, specifically for the mall. Anyway, so I'm excited about moving on that.
That's awesome.
They've been using a cash register, and Mike, our accountant, is thrilled that they're using a cash register. And, our auditors will like that. But the thing that, when Tim turned in the money to me, he was like, look at this. The bulky, which is usually filled every week,
Yeah,
since January 1st, it's only a quarter full.
I went Saturday late, and I was like, so how have people been? No, really no problem. He goes, but look at the bulky. It was like empty.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and all it is people finally actually putting things in bags and putting it in the compactor. Now, it'll be interesting to see how the tonnage in the compactor goes up, or what,
It will be.
Yeah,
But it was interesting that it's really,
At least it's being regulated.
yep.
And have there been many complaints? No irate people calling you, or?
Well, nobody's called me. Of course, the TSAs are the first line, so.
I heard an earful from one of Erica's tenants
oh,
on New
yeah,
Year's.
I did too, yeah, I know.
That was about it. It's
Yeah.
hilarious though.
Yeah, I've had a few people say something, and I'm just curious why, and I said, because people, were getting a workaround to putting that bag in their stuff. and
We don't want to
whatever.
subsidize trash for people that are
Yeah.
throwing away a ton of trash.
And
That's the
people are
answer.
bringing stuff from other towns, I know
Yeah.
that.
And I did hear that some people, when they were told what the charge was, they went home and got bags, put in bags, and brought it back for the compactor.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So,
The system is working.
Yeah, I think my neighbor was annoyed that I think the compactor was either broken or it wasn't about the.
it was full.
Yeah,
That was on
Oh,
Christmas.
it was
was
Yeah, it had
full.
nothing
That's
to do
why.
with like.
That's
It was the
right.
like
trash
dump
the day
policies,
after
it was just the
Christmas,
fact
I
You
that
know
it was
what?
like-
It always
that it
is
was
after
full.
Christmas,
Yeah.
like the cardboard
But
or
it's
the
usually the
compactor.
cardboard, and it wasn't the cardboard
I
this
know,
time.
like
It
I
was the
plan
trash.
accordingly to
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
'cause
And then
everybody-
some people complained that they didn't know it was open on the Thursday after, and we're like, well, it had
It's
been
like-
posted for 2 or 3 months.
I know. signs
So
up
there's
all
not
over
much
the
we,
place, so.
not much else we can do.
People should also know we do get additional funding for implementing these.
I've said that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Well, Veronique put it in the visitor. list.
Yeah.
So,
The
yeah,
cards.
and we'll be getting a fair bit more because you all took it down to 52 stickers a year. That's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
For us.
maybe in our, the town report, we can, highlight, I mean, obviously that's gonna be in the section on the transfer station, but I mean, if we could, I don't know, pull out just some highlights, executive summary, first page, this is how much money we saved,
Yeah.
on the transfer station this year.
I can, although it's a fiscal year, so I'm doing it for fiscal '24, so it stops as of last July 1st, so I'll have to make notes for the following
I
annual
mean, yeah.
report. It always messes with my head doing that. I don't need to tell you any more about the sustainability because they were here, and then the last thing just to show you is we're getting one free air quality monitor that the FERCog's gonna put in. It will be somewhere right outside this building. And we're trying to figure that out right now with
So this is to
Ron.
monitor.
Oh, that's so funny when I
Town air
read
quality.
your thing, I thought it was like the building.
I know, that's what I thought too.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought
no,
the same thing.
it's just our air quality and, yeah.
Just in town.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, good, that was,
Okay,
okay.
that makes
That makes a
sense.
lot more sense then. I was like,
I
why?
was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna stand
We don't want
underneath it
that.
and smoke cigars all day.
And then you just totally reminded me I need to help set up a camera out here for Lori. So I'll do that in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah, you just reminded me that Chris got the camera up at the transfer
Oh,
station
yeah, I saw that,
working.
yeah.
Yes.
So where,
It's on her account.
okay, cool, all
Yeah.
right, so.
Yep.
awesome.
The only thing I don't think we have yet is the live streaming, right?
I
That's the
don't know,
only-
I still saw that wasn't doing it. I think we need to call them because I can see today, I can see people that were there. There's plenty of events, but when I go to live streaming, it still says it's unavailable,
Yeah.
unable to connect.
Who's
So it's-
gonna run the swap shop, or is that TBA?
Well, so this is gonna be the conundrum, but I can tell you from past experience that until and unless something looks decent, it's really difficult to, so.
Keep it decent?
Yeah, so what I'm hoping is that with the new swap shop building, that we can, keep it looking nice, but it will not be able to run if you don't have, you
Without
can't have a
volunteers.
swap shop open without volunteers to monitor. It just does not, people do not
Could that also be
Regulate.
a senior job?
possibly, but to date, we still only had 3 applications. You extended the deadline to the 31st. I still haven't gotten another,
Wow,
so,
okay,
we'll see. And don't forget, it's only 100 hours
yeah,
for that, so that's not much time.
yeah.
What I'm really hoping is that we can get some people who are willing to do every other weekend or something, and just, what Kathy and I had talked about was just having up on the board there, and I bought a new board for the front of it, and just having a calendar and letting people sign up
Yeah.
for their shifts.
Mhm.
And basically, if there's you could say that, if there's somebody signed up, it's open. If there's nobody signed up, it's closed, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, Okay, yeah, I had yesterday. I don't have anything from today, it doesn't look like. Okay, so that was all that I had.
Great.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, we still have to go,
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry.
Comments, concerns? None? Mail, none? Announcements, none? Next meeting, January 21st.
Good thing you said that.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, right.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.